Alright, BFTB. So, I want to take a minute to talk about Anthony Joshua fans. Yeah, and not the boxing fans, which are few and far in between, but I'm talking about the weirdos that no matter what Anthony Joshua does, he can do no wrong. You always find something to justify it in some way, shape, or fashion. You know, it really doesn't matter what is said, what is done. Don't matter. It's just, okay, well, you can take that, just justify it. Like, you know, 1 second this dude will say, oh, the money's not a problem with Wilder. I'll fight him, no problem. And he did say that. The money is not a problem. He's clearly said that. But, you know, he'll say that, and then the very next thing when, you know, Wilder says, okay, well, 50-50. And then y'all say, oh, well, Wilder's pricing himself out because he doesn't want to fight. Even though Anthony Joshua said money's not a problem. But Wilder's priced himself out because he said 50-50, which is weird as fuck. You know, I don't get that. That's whatever, I don't get that. And then you have Wilder calling Anthony Joshua out when Anthony Joshua won the title from Charles Martin. So instead of fighting, you know, Anthony Joshua says, let me get my experience up. So then we got the AJ fans saying, oh, Wilder's trying to cherry pick Anthony Joshua. He's trying to cherry pick him. Because that was said. These are factual statements. That Wilder was trying to cherry pick Anthony Joshua. I mean, so then they say, trying to cherry pick him because he's inexperienced. You know, so then he fights Molina. You know, Wilder fights Molina. You know, beats Molina, knocks him out. And Anthony Joshua fights Molina. Beats Molina, knocks him out. You say, oh, well, look how Anthony Joshua knocked him out. It's damaged goods, though. So look how Anthony Joshua knocked out damaged goods. Alright, cool, whatever. That's why Anthony Joshua beat Wilder, because he knocked out someone that Wilder knocked out already. Okay, cool. Anyways, moving on from that, they say, oh, well, Wilder hasn't fought nobody. His competition is trash. His ass. You know, he hasn't done nothing. But then you look at Anthony Joshua's resume, and he has fighters on his resume that Wilder had knocked out already. So, you know, you got these fighters on here that are on his resume that Wilder knocked out, but mysteriously they somehow turned good when it was time for them to fight Anthony Joshua. They were mysteriously good competition for Anthony Joshua. They were step-ups in good competition, but they were bums when they fought Wilder before they fought Anthony Joshua. So they somehow got better after they fought Wilder. After Wilder knocked them out, they got better. So when Anthony Joshua fought them, they were on a different level then. They were better fighters then. And the crazy thing is, that concept only works one way. It doesn't work both ways. It only works one way. You know, it doesn't work for Deontay Wilder. You know, if Deontay Wilder was to fight someone that Anthony Joshua beat, it would be, oh, well, he's fighting Joshua's leftovers. That's all it is, just Joshua's leftovers. And then they'll say, well, it's the best comp on his resume anyways. Joshua's resume is Joshua's leftovers, but it's the best comp on his resume. I don't understand what's going on with y'all, with that AJ weirdos. Not the actual fans. Now I'll take that back. So not his actual fans. There's people that love him and support him, and I'm a-okay with that. Do your thing. But the weirdos that find no wrong in whatever he does and says, they find no wrong in it. You know, to them, his technique is flawless. You know, it's flawless. You know, no matter how big he gets, that's okay. No matter how much weight he loses, that's perfect. They'll find a way. If he gets huge, they'll say, oh, well, it's all muscle, and he's gonna destroy whoever he fights. You know. Then when he loses weight, they'll say, oh, well, he's cut to shreds. He's cut up. He's gonna destroy whoever he fights now because he lost all that weight. Well, but he just had all that weight. and y'all were saying still good things about him. So there's no negativity about this dude. It's just the weirdest love affair I've ever seen. It's like ridiculous. Yeah, like I am a Wilder fan. I'm a huge Wilder fan. Huge Wilder fan. But he has flaws like everybody else. The good thing about Wilder and his flaws is he recognizes his flaws and he makes his flaws his strengths. I mean, his wide stance. Yeah, he's off balance at times, but you got to realize how much power he puts in his punches from that wide stance. Sorry about that. Let's go. So you got to realize, bruh, you got to realize that his stance being wide like that, he puts so much power in his punches off of his stance. So not only is he just naturally gifted with power, he puts more power in it off of his stance. Because he can get so much more torque in it. He can get so much more leverage. He uses this as a weakness to a strength. You know, that is a weakness that a more fundamentally sound boxer will say is a weakness, his wide stance, because he's going to be off balance. Yeah, you're right, he will be off balance. I'm not saying he won't. I can admit that he'll be off balance when he's throwing certain punches. But the caveat off that is, if he touches you with that punch he's throwing, the fight is over. Which he's proven 39 times. 39 times he's proven this. Out of 40 fights, 39 times he's proved that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just super weird, man. It's just super weird. Like I don't get where these AJ fanatics, these AJ weirdos, take that back, not fanatics, these weirdos can see that they can't see this dude has stamina problems. Like they can't see that. They can't see that he's susceptible to right hands. They can't see that. In their eyes, Vladimir Klitschko was the greatest thing since sliced cheese, even though he was just schooled by Fury badly. They just pushed that to the side, and then they don't even turn a blind eye to the Jennings fight. The Jennings fight just didn't happen. That just didn't happen to them, where he went the distance with Jennings and could never hurt him at all. And this was years before he fought Anthony Joshua, so he was in better condition then. He was younger, stronger, probably faster, but he couldn't hurt Brian Jennings at all. Never dropped him, buzzed him, dinged him, nothing. Funny, because in Brian Jennings' very next fight, he fought Ortiz and got obliterated in his very next fight. But whatever. I'm just saying, like, y'all look at this Klitschko, the one that Anthony Joshua beat, and y'all act as if that was the Klitschko, you know, that beat Pulev, or the not Pulev, but the one that beat Povetkin. You know what I'm saying? The Klitschko from back then. You know, that's what y'all are talking about. Y'all just remove everything else from the middle of that, and this is that guy. You know, he's the king in the ring, and he wasn't. The king in the ring was Tyson Fury, because he had already dethroned Klitschko. Like, let's be realistic now. Let's just be realistic. You know? Let's be 100% honest with ourselves. Anthony Joshua has never faced a mandatory challenger, but yet that was the criticism that y'all gave Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder hasn't fought no mandatories. You know, he hasn't fought nobody in the top 10, and I'll get to that in a second. But, you know, Deontay Wilder hasn't fought no mandatories. Anthony Joshua has not fought one mandatory yet. Not one. Not for the WBA belt, which was Ortiz. He didn't fight him. Not for the IBF belt, which was Pulev. He didn't fight him. So he's fought no mandatory challengers. Zero. A fucking goose egg. But y'all criticize Deontay Wilder, who has fought his mandatory challenger. Who aggressively sought out his mandatory challenger. You know, y'all give Pulev shit for not fighting Anthony Joshua. Y'all give Pulev shit. Y'all don't give Joshua shit. Y'all give it to Pulev. But when Povetkin postponed his fight, because he could have fought Wilder already, he postponed his fight because of he wanted to fight in Russia, right? He postponed it again because he supposedly got a cut again the Marius Walk fight. Postponed it again. You know, for what? He was at ringside for the Spilka fight, and he didn't have to postpone that shit. He didn't have a little tiny bandage on. Come on, man, a little tiny bandage. Stop the bullshit, dude. He did not want to fight Wilder. Period. Postponed it twice, and then popped hot twice for Meldonium, and then he popped hot for Osterin. But everybody just throws the Osterin out. They just thrown that out like that whatever. That didn't happen. The Meldonium, he only had a little tiny bit in his system, so it doesn't matter. Doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter if he had a drop. It doesn't matter if he had a millionth of a drop in his system. He shouldn't have had it in his system at all. At all. But y'all don't criticize Povetkin. Y'all criticize Wilder for not taking that challenge anyway. That's what y'all criticize him for. And y'all fail to realize that Wilder was going to fight the dude anyway. The WBC removed that. The WBC removed him as the mandatory. The WBC pulled him out of that. Wilder didn't pull himself out. The WBC pulled him out. So, but y'all give Wilder shit on that as if that was Wilder's fault. As if Wilder is the one that somehow went to Russia and pushed the Meldonium and Osterin in Povetkin's ass. He just shot him up, tapped his wrists, pushed them drugs up in his system. That was Povetkin that did. I mean, that was Wilder that did that to Povetkin. Right. But yet y'all don't say anything to Anthony Joshua not fighting Ortiz or not fighting Pulev. That's not Anthony Joshua's fault. That's Ortiz's fault. That's Pulev's fault. Wilder's the guy y'all like to hate, man, for some strange reason. And then y'all say, well, don't nobody know Wilder. And the ironic part of that, the ironic piece to that, is you can't mention Anthony Joshua without bringing up Deontay Wilder. You can't even mention the dude. You can't say, oh, Anthony Joshua this, because it always either precedes or supersedes. Deontay Wilder didn't do this. Deontay Wilder didn't do that. So by everybody saying no one knows Wilder, that's BS. You know Wilder. Are you calling yourself a nobody? Because you know Wilder. You're the one bringing him up. You're the one mentioning him. You're the one downing him and discrediting him anytime Anthony Joshua's name is mentioned. So you must be calling yourself a nobody because you know him. So if you're saying nobody knows Wilder and you're talking about Wilder every time you mention Joshua, then you're a fucking nobody. So Wilder is known. He's known. And if he isn't known by everybody, he's known by you, the ones talking shit about him. It's pathetic, man. It's absolutely pathetic, man. Y'all just need to push for the fight. You don't need to worry about saying who can beat who and when and how and what. Just push for the fight and we can see it. I got my money on Wilder. And I think Ortiz was a tougher fight than Anthony Joshua will be. Anthony Joshua is susceptible to right hands. The same exact parry and punch that Vladimir Klitschko dropped Anthony Joshua with is Wilder's bread and butter. He plays right into his punch. I mean, this is a no-brainer. But whatever. Bet on AJ. I'm betting on Wilder. Just push for the fight to happen. You don't need to discredit him. You see, I'm not really discrediting AJ. He's a great fighter. He's more fundamentally sound than Deontay Wilder. But Deontay Wilder has proved that he doesn't need to be fundamentally sound to get the job done. He has fundamentals. Is he more fundamentally sound than Anthony Joshua? No, but the problem about that, the problem with that is there's no book on how to beat what Wilder does. There's no book on that. I mean, what Anthony Joshua does is taught. That's fundamental 101. It's taught. There is a book on how to beat that. There is something to study, to beat the style that Anthony Joshua has. There is no study. There is no study in awkwardness. It's just not going to happen. But, like I said, I got my money on Wilder. Y'all can put y'all's on Anthony Joshua. BFTB, I'm out.